Where does Africa feature in this nuclear future?
Oh, well, that's most interesting because already in Africa, about 12 African countries have officially notified the International Atomic Energy Agency that they're going nuclear. These countries include places like Ghana, Kenya, Uganda, Zambia. A number of them like that are seeing that South Africa is large, by the way. South Africa is the same size as the whole of Western Europe added together, believe it or not. The distance from Pretoria to Cape Town, where we now are, is the same as Rome to London. Now, Africa is monstrous. Africa is the size of China, the United States, all of Europe and India added together. So the sizes are huge. And when we get people coming from like Germany or something say, we've got an answer, to them 50 kilometers down the road is far. To us 500 kilometers, you start to think a little bit of a distance. So the requirement, for example, to take a power source to where your new mining operation is incredibly important. If you find, like in Zambia, they want to increase their copper output dramatically. If there's new copper mine prospects, you don't want to find you 500 kilometers from the power source and you now need a 500 kilometer transmission line. Instead, you can build a small modular reactor at the mine. In fact, you would build 2 or 3 or 4, which gives you a lot of flexibility. So when you take one reactor out for compulsory maintenance, the other 3 are still running. Incidentally, you never have to switch the reactor off for refueling. It just runs continuously. So the only time you would ever switch the HTMR 100 off is that the law would require you to have checks, just like aeroplanes have to check their engines and airframes every so many flying hours and so on. So the options for all African countries can acquire these reactors. I also see that the reactors would be very interlinked via the internet. So we would be supportive of each other. We wouldn't need every African country to, for example, have a large national nuclear regulator. They could have a small regulator and have an interactive deal with other countries that if there was an emergency requiring people with Geiger counters to land, together with their respective military or however the diplomats decide it can be done, we can fly teams of people and do mutual inspections and things like that. So to my mind, the speed with which African countries can now go nuclear has dramatically opened up. The potential is massive now, bearing in mind you don't need the water and you can put the reactor wherever you like, whether it's close to a suburban area or way out in the bush.